I heard this story on television, and it was about these white rhinos being terrorized in this African game preserve. And it was these adolescent elephants. They were literally, it showed video, they were gathering around and just terrorizing these white rhinos, which were very rare, like 500 left in the world. They have to be protected. And the people of the game preserve did not know what to do, how to stop these elephants, because they're rare also. And it showed that, the elephants were literally gathering around them and sort of just punking on them and throwing stuff at them. And it was typical adolescent behavior, not so different than what you'd see on a schoolyard. And, they came up with a novel approach. They shipped in a mature male. A male elephant from another game preserve. And that mature male, see, these adolescents had never been taught. They were free to get their own ideas about life. They had never been taught. And immediately the male ran him off of the rhino. He got in the way, and they immediately started following him because, of course, he was the big alpha elephant on the scene. And it changed and repaired the problem. And these adolescents all of a sudden learned how to behave. You see, all of a sudden, the adolescents had an example where before they didn't have one. These adolescent elephants had never seen an older male. They didn't know how to behave. Mainly because they just didn't have an example. The story rang a bell in my heart as I think about my own life, my own adolescence, and how at times I probably needed a male role model. As it is, my experience with dads ended when I was 7, when my father was taken in a motorcycle crash. And I grew up essentially without a father, looking for male role models in life. I was lucky enough that I found my own way in life. I didn't need an older elephant to be shipped in to straighten me out, but I definitely went through my times where a role model might have made a difference. But today in my life, I'm working with youth. I volunteer at my local church, and I'm working with youth from your high schools. The kids we get in aren't from prototype Christian families. They're actually, we go out and we run a van around, and whoever wants to come can get in the van and come, just normal average kids. They haven't been raised necessarily with Christian values. The resounding theme from these teenagers is the need for a father. A lot of them live with their grandparents, a lot of them with a single parent, or they're doing a different house every weekend. So the male elephant was able to teach behavior to the young rogue adolescent elephants. And essentially, because now they had an example, they didn't even know what a proper elephant looked like or how he acted. So bringing in an experienced male to show them this is what an elephant acts like, kids, it gave them an example to follow. In nature, there are quite a few examples of this behavior. Just parenting as a whole. You see it in almost every predatory nature where they'll teach the young how to hunt before putting them out in the world. They'll teach them how to earn a living, essentially. And they'll under their wing, they can get their skills and they can learn how to do things. You see, my dad died when I was 7. A simple motorcycle wreck took him from us. And so I grew up without that example, without that big elephant. And I was the adolescent causing trouble. I was very rebellious. lucky enough, I found my way and I turned it around. I was able to overcome those obstacles. But now I'm the father of 4, and I'm also the youth leader for a youth outreach. So I see dozens and dozens of kids crying out for a father, for a strong role model. They don't care what you look like, how much money you make, what you do for a living. They don't hug your wallet. They hug a dad. I hear a lot of men saying it, they're better off without me. It doesn't mean being perfect. I used to hear that you should never apologize in leadership. You should never say, I'm sorry. You're given so many opportunities to make a mistake day in, day out, every situation, be it dinner, trash, mow the yard, fix the house, you take the car, all these situations throughout all their lifespan, there's going to come a time when you have to say, I'm sorry. I overstepped, I shouted, I overreacted. So I don't think it's a bad thing in parenting to just say, I'm sorry. I don't want to linger there because I want to be a strong leader, strong role model, but I also want them to know that I'm not infallible, that I do make mistakes, and I acknowledge them when I make them. Hopefully, at the end of all this, I've got an adult child. A few basic qualities. You would like to raise loving, compassionate parents. You don't want them to be addicted or abusive. It would be nice if they would talk to us once in a while. Not afraid to have a conversation. And you want them to be good parents. Whether you're raising a boy or raising a girl, they both need a parent, a father. Specifically, we're talking about fathers today. In today's society, you've got people playing both roles. My mom had to be both a father and a mother, and that's not easy. I hear these little commercials on the radio, be a dad. And I'm a little ashamed for my culture. I know this is a worldwide phenomenon, the modern age, where we're so enlightened. But the fact is, these kids are growing up without fathers. It's time for us to step up. It's time for the men to be counted. It's time for you to be someone's dad.